Hey, this is Justin. Thank you for downloading and listening to the J&J Talk Show. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen or favor our show on Spotify app or Facebook. You can also listen live on YouTube at the J&J Talk Show.
One step forward, two steps backwards, yeah. Immature lover who don't use big words, yeah. I don't need convincing at all because I know what I want. Baby, can't you figure it out? What's going on in your
What's going on,
mind?
friends? Happy Thursday, November 18th, 2021. I'm Justin, and here's another episode of the NFL Weekly Preview right here on the J&J Talk Show. I got a special 2-hour episode with you today. I got Jacob Hunter joined by me in the studio. We'll get him on here in a moment. I got a big show for you guys today. We're going to break down all the things in NFL. Let's get right into it. We got to thank some people that make this show happen, some of the equipment that we're using. So let's go ahead and be humble and kind. And let's first off by thanking StreamYard. StreamYard is the studio home of the J&J Talk Show. If you're looking to create your own podcast, YouTube videos, or even looking for your own virtual business meetings videos, StreamYard is the place to go. Head on over to StreamYard.com and start making your dreams a reality. Let's also thank Placeit. Create your mock-ups, logos, and videos through Placeit. The J&J Talk Show is proud to be using the Placeit to create all their logos and promotional videos. Placeit's by Envato. Head on over to placeit.net for your free trial. Also, Epidemic Sound. Discover world-class artists, composers, and bands. Find your perfect soundtrack and give your social media accounts the music they deserve. Epidemic Sound is a licensed music and voice effect link. Check out Epidemic Sound for more information. Also, Stream Elements. With one click of a button, easily create and start selling your merchandise through Stream Elements. It's that simple. Stream Elements gives you the platform with a handful of objects to sell. Simply upload or create what you want to sell and allow Stream Elements to do the rest. They create the store, they create the merchandise, and they deliver the merchandise and give you your profit. Stream Elements make merchandise simple to sell. Head on over to streamelements.com for more information. Alrighty. That may sound like a long intro, but that's what we do each and every time. Appreciate everyone staying patient with us. Now we could get right into business. All right. We're tuning in here live on Facebook, wherever you could check us out on. You could check us out on Facebook, which we're YouTube right now, which we're live. After the show, we will go on Facebook. Okay, I'm usually pretty good at posting that stuff up quick, so you can head on over to Facebook and check us out. Also, you could also find us on Spotify. So if you're working, if you're out there and you can't watch us, okay, or you just get tired of seeing my face, head on over to Spotify and listen to each and every episode of the J&J Talk Show. All right, social media accounts. All right, we invite you to come tag along. Let's come talk to us. Come let us know what we're doing, how we're doing, have some great conversations when we get into professional wrestling talk, football talk, sports around the world talk, just in general. Head on over to Facebook at the JJ Talk Show. Trey has done a tremendous job promoting our channel and getting our social media accounts out there. If you want to reach out to me personally, head on over to the J&J Talk Show. You can send a message in the messenger, and I'll respond back fairly quickly. Also, you can check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and now also on TikTok. I don't know if you guys have been following TikTok as of late, but you can check us out on um, TikTok on there. So that's all of our social media accounts that we have for you today. Okay. I got Jacob Hunter waiting on the line. He's eager to get right into it. Okay. We're going to first get us right into the NFL Week 10 highlights, go over all those games real quick. We're going to start breaking down some NFL news feeds, what you need to know heading into Week 11, followed by the Week 11 picks. And Jake is going to go in and join us this week on the NFL picks on each and every game and who do we think is going to win. Okay. Um, one thing I will tell you on back on last week is that um, it's that slogan. If someone needs to slap it on a T-shirt, maybe I'll do it, but we need to start selling any given Sunday because that's what the NFL is all about this year. Any given Sunday, any given team could win. We've seen the Detroit Lions come close to winning last week. We saw some big blowout games last week. Okay, and we'll get more into that as well. Also, what's coming up here in week number 11, and then heading into, hey, we're finally into Thanksgiving holidays, right? We got Thanksgiving next week. We got the traditional 10 teams. The J&J Talk Show is going to have a special 2-hour show on Thanksgiving, holiday special show just for you, right here from 10 to noon on Thanksgiving Day. So I don't know. Maybe you guys are watching the Macy's parade. Maybe you guys are getting ready for some NFL action, or maybe you guys just want to sleep in. You guys get started on cooking. Whatever the case may be, Thanksgiving, tune us in. Let us get you guys ready for the NFL and for your days worth of fun over there. Alrighty, so we're just gonna jump right into it. And at this time, I'd like to welcome you, good friend of ours. He's been on our show before, and Jacob. Jacob, how you doing this Thursday morning?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you?
Hey, it's getting colder outside. My joints are starting to hurt. But you know what? There's no other way I would want to start off a Thursday morning other than start talking about some NFL football.
Oh yeah, for sure. The NFL action has been getting really tense over the last couple of weeks, especially after what we saw in Week 10.
Yeah, I mean we don't know. Well, I mean, I guess a lot of my theories is the teams are the teams actually good, or do we just have a crappy season? Because I mean I mean the last 10 weeks I watched a good handful of them. There's been some good games, I could say the least, but there's been like some college games where they're blowing them out, 45-3. But are our games, I mean, in your opinion, are games good, or are we just seeing a crappy division?
So, a little bit of both. I mean, there's been a lot of great games over the last couple of weeks, but yet at the same time, there's been some crappy teams that have not had the performance that they need to. There's a couple of teams that I've seen that could play better than the way that they should be playing this year, but then there are teams who are actually pulling a surprises. I mean, you look at the Arizona Cardinals.
Mm.
We did not expect the Arizona Cardinals to be this good, but then all of a sudden, boom! Kyler Murray, Watt, and I mean, they got Zach Ertz, and not only that, but D Hop. D Hop has had a tremendous season this year. So I mean, if there's one team I can say that I'm glad is doing good, it is definitely the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. I was we talk about any given Sunday, and I feel like that's a cliche for the NFL week this year, because we've seen a lot of upsets. And I think it runs into it, and we'll get more into last week and what happened last week and the news and highlights and everything we need to know. But I think it's interesting to say, and correct me if I'm wrong for saying this.
Mhm.
But when you came down to the first half of the season,
Yeah.
that is designed for teams to or players to kind of have their highlight moments, right? Where teams are going to maybe give you that false hope that they're actually good. Either, I mean, we've seen Tom Brady struggling. You've seen the Kansas City Chiefs struggle, and we'll get more into that. But then the second half of the season is about it's actually about, okay, who are the real playoff teams? So the first half
Yeah.
is all the showboat, all the fancy stuff, every that. The second half is all the the dog days, getting into you add the additional NFL team, or the additional week to the NFL this year,
hmm
and now you worry about, okay, this next 10 or 6 to 7 weeks, we're gonna really figure out who belongs in the postseason.
Yeah. So, and yet, Joe, you know what to say with what's happening to the Kansas City Chiefs and Tampa Bay Buccaneers? They could potentially say it's the Madden curse for all I know, but at the same time, though, it's not the Madden curse. It has been the lack of the performance. I mean, we've seen Tom Brady he did a great job. Don't get me wrong, but he did not play like Tom Brady level against the Washington football team last week. But then you have a team like the Kansas City Chiefs who has won what, like maybe three, four games now to finally get a chance to get back up to try to be able to make it even in to the wild card. I mean, they're winning the division, yes, they are, but at the same time, though, it's all about making it to the playoffs. I mean, we've seen last year, we've seen how the NFC North, we say how one team we didn't expect to see in the playoffs, but here they were, and that was Washington. Could that be the same for any other team this year? I mean, could we see a team that we did not expect to see going to the postseason be in the postseason? That's something I think we're all trying to keep our eye on, especially with how close the wild card's getting for the AFC side.
Right. I mean, one thing I will say here, and like I said, we'll get into it in our 2-hour episode today on the J&J Talk Show, is that we have ourselves um, a different dynamic, or different diversity of playoff teams. And that's one of my favorite things to go into any season, whether it's baseball, football, hockey, basketball, whatever, is not to see the same teams over and over and over again. I like to see some of these under teams. I mean, is it finally time to see the Patriots back in the playoffs as well? I mean, the Chargers are always a great look. I'm excited to see the Raiders maybe get a chance. It's been a long time since the Bengals have been in the postseason. They have a chance to mark themselves back in the playoff race. And then it's been a few years since the Panthers and Cam Newton coming back last week. So we're seeing a lot of newer teams in the postseason, which is also very exciting compared to seeing the. I mean, I don't want to see the same teams over and over and over again.
No, I mean I'm always excited to see some fresh new teams to be able to get that spot that they so definitely deserve and that they worked hard for. I mean, you talked about two teams that we haven't seen in the playoffs, over a while. Carolina Panthers and the New England Patriots. New England Patriots, I mean, I guess you could say that ever since Tom Brady left, they have been under a new management with this new quarterback that they have and Mac Jones. Mac Jones has definitely
Mhm.
changed the team a lot ever since after a terrible season last year. And then you talk about Cam Newton. I mean, at the start of the season, Sam Donald was looking really good, but all of a sudden there was a downfall for the Carolina Panthers. There was a huge downfall for them. But ever since they signed Cam Newton and they got that win, can Cam Newton bring back the Carolina Panthers to the playoff extension? I don't think we've seen them back there since maybe 2015. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting to see how the Carolina Panthers can do for the remainder of the season. Can Christian McCaffrey be healthy? Can Cam Newton be able to manage to keep his offense in line? I mean, you go from Sam Darnold to Cam Newton. And yet, for the
Right.
coach of the Carolina Panthers to have that much trust in Cam, even in, if it's just his first game back since he got released, it's going to be a very interesting one for the Carolina Panthers, and I look forward to seeing how it goes for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming in. We got a very impactful show for you today. 2 hours long, a special 2-hour episodes. Heading right into it. Jacob's going to be joining us for the entire 2 hours. So, Jacob, sit tight. We'll get right back with you again as well. Well, listen, like I said, wherever you're streaming us from, if that's YouTube, if that's Facebook, if that's Spotify, we welcome you. Thank you for tuning into us. Please hit that like, share, subscribe button as well. Also, Hey, listen, holiday season's coming up. All right. If you guys are trying to find that perfect present, that perfect gift for that someone, okay, or if you're trying to even maybe just buy a hoodie or t-shirt or long sleeve to get ready for the holiday season, so head on over to our merchandise page and start supporting us and start wearing our favorite. You can wear the J&J Talk Show merchandise wherever you go now. Head on over to merch.streamelements.com/JJ Talk Show. Once again, that is merch.streamelements.com/JJ Talk Show, and start buying your gear and wear your favorite merchandise. All right, we got a lot more coming ahead for you. 2 hours heading right into here on the J&J Talk Show. We'll be right back in 90 seconds.
I can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no.
Welcome back here, friends, on a 2-hour episode of the J Talk Show, as we break down NFL week number 10 and give you our picks to NFL week number 11 as we head into Thanksgiving in a couple weeks. Let's go ahead and just start off by saying for Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati residents, okay, there's an opportunity coming out for you for NWF Wrestling. NWF Wrestling is a local promotion wrestling independent company, and they will be putting on a show not only this Saturday, November 20th, but also November 27th. And the reason I mentioned the 27th episode, or day, is because they will be inducting the Monster Abyss right into the Hall of Fame. So I know me, Trey, and a couple other people that I know has front row seats Tickets are available. Go to nwfwrestling.com for more information. And we are back in the studio, and we are ready to break down. I know I don't want to make this show about wrestling, but you live separately from us. Is there
Yeah.
any independent wrestling companies that does house shows on a week to week basis out there?
As far as around here, not really for sure. I mean, at the time before the pandemic hit, there usually be some promotions in my hometown, but unfortunately, there isn't much wrestling out here unless if you go to the big cities like Charleston or Morgantown, and or even Huntington, I believe. So unfortunately, we don't
Yeah.
really have much independent wrestling out there, and I believe there's a town next to us in Mullins that would start doing some shows. And I know
Oh,
everyone in my hometown, my county, loves professional wrestling. We love, independent wrestling. So I really, really, really would like to get a chance to have that again. So hopefully that'll be happening. And if not, then the rest of the year, maybe hopefully next year.
okay, yeah. Let me listen. You got to think about it. Majority, you have to start somewhere in the wrestling industry,
Yeah.
and you have to, when I was in San Diego, they had SoCal Wrestling. They out here, they have the Bone Crusher Academy, followed by NWF. It's a great way to promote young talent. And I mean, you think of guys like the Monster Abyss coming through
Mhm.
the academy down here, and getting a chance to go see them. Next Saturday is going to be a very honorable thing. I mean, out in the West Coast, you don't get a lot of chance to see, I mean, he's made a big impact in, TNA,
Oh,
known for a
well,
lot
oh,
of good matches. So, I mean, getting a chance to see him in person is kind of remarkable. I remember the first time I saw a local independent wrestling program was back in 2018. I went to a county fair and I saw SoCal Wrestling for the very, very first time. And I saw the Honky Tonk Man in a 6-man tag match. I'm like,
honky tonk
the
man.
one thing I will tell you this before we get back into NFL. The one
Yeah.
thing that I wanted to ask them this one question. I never got a chance to ask him. And I wish one day I could find him and ask him. And I want to ask all these stars. My favorite athlete is The Undertaker. Well, The Undertaker's debuted at Survivor Series, which, by the way, comes up this Sunday. Okay, on Peacock Survivor Series. Tune into that Survivor Series. The 5-on-5. We'll get into that on Saturday's episode. But anyways, the Honky Tonk Man teamed with The Undertaker for the very first time.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
Ted DiBiase's 4-on-4, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
Ted
Yeah.
DiBiase had a team, and then Dusty Rhodes, I believe it was Dusty Rhodes that also had a team. This was been back when Ted and Dusty had a feud with each other in 1991. So hopefully I get a chance. I want to pick the brains of. Hey, listen, you had the Undertaker make his debut here. He wrestled with you guys. I mean, who would have thought Taker would have had 35 years or 25, 30 years in the wrestling industry and be an impact phenomenon to many greats.
Yeah. I mean, and, you talk about Survivor Series. Survivor Series is the event where many different, legends that made their mark at Survivor Series. I mean, not only are you looking at The
I
Undertaker,
mean,
you're
The
also
Rock.
looking at, yeah, Rocky. Yeah, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, Rock. I think it'll be 25 years since he made his debut at Survivor Series. Before he became The Rock, it was Rocky Maivia, and he made a huge performance, and yet he's known as the individual that we all know loves so much as The Rock. And you look at both The Undertaker and The Rock, it's kind of crazy how both men's legacies start at Survivor Series. So yeah, for those who are going to be wrestling this Sunday, it's a very historic event. Not only is it an every November
Yeah,
thing,
no,
but it's
I
also a very historic thing.
Oh yeah, I mean it's been around. It's in that top. It's the four main pay per views. Like if WWE, and I mean I know we're spending more time than necessary on this one, but if WWE got rid of all the other pay per views, it's the Royal Rumble, it's it's WrestleMania, it's SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. Those were the four key, pay-per-views that WWE had each and every year. And to
Yeah,
be honest, and just last thoughts on that, I wouldn't mind if WWE didn't have a pay-per-view every year.
I wouldn't mind either, all honesty.
that would be another conversation for another show. We're talking about football today. We have NFL Week 11 picks coming up to you in a little bit at the end of hour number 2. We will take you right into continue into hour number 1. We will be going over the NFL Week 10 games, and we'll get to that in a moment. But then we're going to start talking a little later on about Cam Newton's return, the teams that are drawing attention heading into the core season of the NFL. We also have maybe favorite picks and favorite teams coming out of both AFC and NFC. And then, hey, listen, you're a Steelers fan, and I'll get you your quick thoughts on this one. Come on. I mean, the Steelers are giving the Lions the greatest or the closest thing that they're going to probably come to this season on a victory.
Yeah, so I was watching the whole game Sunday, and one thing I can tell you is the story before the game was Big Ben was out. He was added to the COVID list, and Mason Rudolph had this big start. And as a Steelers fan, I was like, oh no, Mason Rudolph, no, 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 no. But then at the start of the game, he started throwing some passes. He got himself a touchdown, and he looked really good. But probably still around the third and fourth quarter, that's when things went downhill from Pittsburgh. Najee Harris did a tremendous job, but the problem was for Pittsburgh on the offensive side was that you had Deontay Johnson and Freiermuth that keep dropping easy passes. I mean, you look at Freiermuth, the last passing play of the game, he could have had the chance to be able to catch it, and then Chris Boswell could have easily made a field goal, and then boom, it did not happen. So the fact that I can't believe we're even saying this, that we made it to a tie against the worst team in the NFL, the Lions, it's sad, but I know that the performance can be a lot better than what we saw this past Sunday.
Well, I definitely want to talk about that a little bit more because I have an interesting subject coming up here in hour number 2 when it comes down to talking about the tiebreaker. We'll get into that as well. Listen, tying is not the worst case, but I don't think it favors you in the division. Pittsburgh and Lions and Detroit tie 16-16 in overtime. I don't know, maybe a game that the Steelers actually should have lost. They end up coming back, tying the game at the very end. But I mean, I think it shows because, it shows around the league because Minnesota Vikings beat the Chargers 27-20, and the Chargers did that. Or they have a track record. This year. They lost to the Cowboys in the home opener this season. They lost to the Patriots earlier this year, and then they lose at home, and then they lose against the Vikings going on at home as well.
Yeah, so pretty much Los Angeles has been having some issues over the last couple of weeks. And the fact is that, Joe Burrow can play a lot better than what he did this past Sunday. And the fact that they allowed the Minnesota Vikings, and no disrespect to Minnesota Vikings fans out there, but
Hold
the
on.
Vikings.
Did you just say Joe Burrow? You mean
Not
Justin
Joe Burrow.
Herbert?
Sorry, Justin
Joe
Herbert. Sorry,
Burrow's
my
on
apologies.
the.
Sorry, my bad. Justin Herbert. My apologies. But sorry, botch. But either way, though,
I didn't know if
Herbert
it was a
could
trade or a release or something like that.
no,
I just wanted to make sure you got that correct. I know.
no, my
Because
apologies.
listen, both quarterbacks are great, by the way.
Yeah,
They're playing great, but Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert are on two different sides of the tracks here.
yeah. My apologies. It's still morning time
You're
here,
good.
so my apologies. But as I was saying,
You
Justin
haven't
Herbert
had your
could have
morning
easily
cup of
played.
coffee yet. You need to
No,
get some of the
no.
coffee in.
I need to get some energy in. But Justin Herbert, my apologies, that was a botch. But Herbert could have played a lot better. And the thing is, though, is that you allowed the Minnesota Vikings to come back and beat you guys at home. I don't think the Chargers have had a really good home season this year. I mean, they've been doing good, at the away games, but as far as the home
Yeah, they've
games,
been good on the
they've
road.
not been executing the plays that they need to. And Herbert needs to be able to step up. He needs to be able, if they want to be able to make it to the playoffs, if they want to be able to win the division against the Kansas City Chiefs, they're gonna have to play better, not only for both offense but defense. Off defense, they allowed the amount of points that they had, they allowed the yardage, and the problem is that they're not doing well on defense side. So does that mean for Pittsburgh come Sunday? Does that mean that they can easily get a chance to run all over the Chargers defense after what we've been seeing the news with Bosa and everything?
Mhm.
Potentially, because you know they're at home Sunday night. I mean, it is Pittsburgh against Los Angeles, and yet Chargers need to have that one home game to where they feel like that they need to step up, especially with the amount of time that they're running out. Time is running out for these teams, and so if you want to be able to make it
Mhm.
to the playoffs, you're gonna have to have a performance 10 times better than your average performance.
Well, I mean, it starts here tonight. It starts here this weekend. I mean, I feel like once you hit Thanksgiving weekend, which is next week,
Hmm.
there's no room for error, especially because playoff teams are going to weave their way out of the contenders who are not contending. And the Chargers had a decent run in the first half, but it's these simple errors and mistakes that end up costing them. Yeah, it's a big loss that Joey Bosa will not be in the game this week.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, but yet again, it's the woes because the Chargers, they lose to the Cowboys at home, they lose to the Patriots at home, they lose to the Vikings at home, and then they have I mean, don't they have the Steelers at home as well this Sunday? Now, I'm pretty confident that as long as Ben Roethlisberger is capable of playing on Sunday, then he's going to play. And if that's the case, I don't think the Chargers are going to win. They
No.
botched every home game. By the way, on the botching situation, if I had $1 or you get $1 for every time someone botched on the show, we'd be a millionaire by now in this last 3 months.
Yeah, my apologies on that, bud. My
Don't
apologies.
even say sorry. Hey, don't apologize for it. We're gonna make mistakes, and that's okay. People
Yeah,
are gonna listen to it, but you know what? It takes time, and as we keep on getting into it, we're so excited to get back into things. Another
yeah,
thing
no.
really fast of what's going on in the NFL. You talk about how the Chargers and Vikings. What about the Saints and the Titans last week? I think a lot of people expected maybe the Saints to have a better performance. It was a very quiet game. I listened to the game at work, and it didn't feel like it was all that enthusiastic. Now, this is reason why I talk about this game is because the Titans currently sit the best record in the AFC. You think that the fans or that this would be a little bigger pop coming into the game because you didn't have Jameis Winston, you didn't really
Mhm.
have a great quarterback. You're up in the air about your quarterback scenario. I mean, this would have been this was for me a pretty big game of the week. Compare that there wasn't many games of the last week that was big enough to talk about, and it didn't really go over as I expected.
Yeah. So, but before the season started, everyone was questioning how can New Orleans do without Drew Brees. But yet, you had both Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston. Winston stepped up a lot. I mean, he stepped up a lot since he left Tampa Bay to go to New Orleans. And I will say this: I was surprised by the performance this past Sunday against the Tennessee Titans. But the thing is, though, is that. And this is something for the Tennessee Titans side is that this is their second game without Derrick Henry since Derrick Henry is going to be out for the rest of the season. Is that can they be able to get the job done? Well, yeah, Ryan Tannehill,
Mm.
Adrian Peterson, Brown. I mean, they've all shown that even without Derrick Henry, they could still be able to manage to have a great offense, and that's exactly what they showed. It was a
And
very
this
close
is
game, and yeah, I mean, you had two awesome, really great teams battling out, but at the end of the day, it was the Titans that had a better performance, that had the better plays. I mean, and Tannehill, I'm really, really impressed with the way I've seen from Ryan Tannehill this season. He's shown is that not only can he be able to throw, he can be able to run the ball if he needs to. He's doing everything he can just for him, his team to be able not only to win the division, but to also for his team to be able to make it to the postseason.
well. I mean, let's think about Tennessee really fast because they've had 80 players on their roster, active roster, since the beginning of the season. 20 of them currently on the IR. I mean, they've gone through injuries like there's no tomorrow,
Yeah, I
and yet
agree.
again, they still hold one of the better records now. So I was talking to someone earlier this week, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, is there more injuries in the NFL this year than the last couple years?" No, it's just we're only told about the key ones, like the Derrick Henrys and of them all, and the Jameis Winstons, and like the Russell Wilson performances. We're only told about the key injuries of the NFL, and we're not told about the linemen. Okay, if there's
Yeah.
unless he's a big key name in the lineman, you're hearing about it at games, but you're not really told about that in the NFL talks throughout the week.
Yeah, and the Titans have struggled a lot when it comes to injuries, but the one thing I can definitely say I'm very, very impressed with is that they've trained players, their backups, to be able to execute to a starter level. So that's one thing I'm really, really impressed to see with the Tennessee Titans. The question is can that winning streak continue? We was all surprised how their performance was against the Los Angeles Rams, and yet I was not surprised by this whenever they took on the New Orleans Saints. So yet, if they keep playing the way that they're playing, they should be comfortable in the postseason. They should be ready to go. But the question is, for how long is this going to be able to continue happening? We'll definitely talk about that in our weekly picks. But yet, can the Titans be able to do good as much as they are right now? Me
Right.
personally,
Well,
easily.
there's other teams right here that other games that were surprising. Washington football team beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
The New England Patriots coming out and destroying the Cleveland Browns, and then they also got the return of Cam Newton, who manhandled the 8-2 or the 7-2 Arizona Cardinals this past week. And then Kansas City decides to finally show up, and then the Rams decide not to show up after they picked, pick up two key elements in Von Miller and Odell Beckham. But that's the composure to the NFL week. We've seen this in Tom Brady. We've seen that he got, last season he got off to a slow start and then they picked up towards the end. We could see that happening again. Kansas City, that could be the same element as well. But they showed, what Tampa Bay showed last week against Washington was that they are not a well put. I know that there's injuries, but they're not a well put team, and their team is also. It doesn't look like they're a playoff team. And then you take a look at Kansas City's side; they're looking like, hey, they should be undefeated by now because the way that they're playing. And when we just talked about it, two couple weeks ago, that they look offset.
Yeah, so you talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and both Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, former Super Bowl winners, and Tampa Bay. I will say this: I am very surprised that they lost to Taylor Heineke, and not only that, but yet to a very injured Washington defense. As we all know, Chase Young, he's going to be out for the remainder of the season to a torn ACL, I believe. And then you got the Kansas City Chiefs, who has been lackluster. Not just on with Pat Mahomes throwing interceptions, but the defense with Tyrann Mathieu. They've not done anything as far as man-to-man coverage. But it's about time we finally see the Kansas City Chiefs get back up to where they need to be. As far as the Tampa Bay Bucks, you talked about this before. It is the exact same team that they had from last season. They have Gronk, they have Brown, they have Godwin, they have all these players, all these main key stars, but yet they're not executing the performance that they used to last year. Yes, granted, they had a struggling start of the season last year, but then they ended up winning the Super Bowl. But yet now they're starting to be able to get some losses during mid-season. Now, could that change up for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? As far as that, yes, easily. But yet, will Brady, always improve easily? He's Tom Brady. I wasn't a fan of Brady at first, but Brady now, he's still one of the best NFL quarterbacks in the NFL right now. So Go ahead.
Tom Brady. I'm not worried about the Buccaneers. I know that they have injuries and they have issues on the floor. Now, it is coming to a shock, and they shouldn't be losing to a team like Washington. But it's. I'm not worried about them because I know. And we'll get into this when we look at the quick standings. But who do they really have to contend with in the South? Saints just lost Jameis Winston, and then on top of that, maybe Cam Newton. We don't know. How? Okay, let me ask you this before we jump to break. How many weeks do you got to give Cam Newton before you buy into, hey, his return is legit, and he's going to take the Panthers to a postseason run.
The thing is that don't get me wrong, man. I mean, I am a fan of Cam Newton as much as the next person, but yeah, the question is, will he be able to take the Carolina Panthers to the postseason? My opinion is that there is a slim chance, in my opinion, because let me tell you why. Because whenever you first started the season, we all thought Sam Darnold, who got traded from New York to Carolina, I mean, this was a very young Carolina team. I mean, and the problem is Christian McCaffrey has not been healthy. I mean, he's been injured over the last couple of weeks, and yet, Donald did not play the way that he did at the start of the season. I mean, they were 3-0 until they ended up losing. They ended up losing about 3 or 4 games straight up. But Cam Newton, if I was him, I would look at the team. I mean, he's got a very amazing receiver core. He's got if you have a 100% McCaffrey, then easily this is like one of the best Carolina teams that they have right now. But a injured Christian McCaffrey, then I'd say that the only person that could be able to help that offense out is Newton, because we all know that not only can he be able to throw the ball, but he can also run the ball. But
I
can they
feel
be
like
able to make the
Cam Newton.
postseason? Some chance.
I mean, I feel like Cam Newton that, we talked about, early on in the program that they're the first 8 weeks, right? We talk about maybe, that's the first 8 weeks indicates, okay, get all your hype out, get all your excitement, get everything out of your system. You're going to see some incredible plays. Well, we haven't seen that in Cam Newton the first 8 weeks because he didn't play in the first 8 weeks of the season. Now, I don't know. I mean, maybe we'll see something phenomenal. I mean, I know Arizona wasn't prepared for him to come into the game and have the performance as he did. Because I mean, he wasn't playing for 2.5 months, but Cam Newton played phenomenal. But can he continue for the next 8 weeks as as they get deeper into the season? I mean, and the Panthers have put up, are in a position, and especially thanks to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because they sit at 5-5. They're only a game and a half out of the Tampa Bay of the South.
Yeah.
So they have a chance. And then if you want to look at the wild card so far, and I mean, there's nothing really going into that. Still, I mean, it's open up to anyone as well when it comes down to that. So, hey, listen, we got a lot more going on. We're coming up here at the end of hour number 1. We got hour number 2 coming up within, as well as our NFL picks. So we still got a lot more to cover here. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. You're listening to Justin and Jacob here talking about NFL and NFL preview week number 11 right here on the J&J Talk Show.
I feel stuck here in the middle. Am I one of those crazy people? Should I stay here or should I let go? Pull the sheets over my head, hoping change is gonna find me. You don't have to remind me I'm doing nothing at all. I'm ruminating on a blank wall. I feel stuck here in the middle. Am I one of those crazy people? Should I stay here or should I let go? Can you tell me what I need? Can you tell me what you see in me? Can you tell me what I need? Can Can you tell me what you see in me? I just feel stuck here in the middle. Am I one of those crazy people? Should I stay here or should I let
I'ma need safety. Tell her I can't snake me. Ray gun off safety. My girl so tasty. Tell her it's your world. She want the two-tone spaceship. Blow smoke screen daily, so the stress don't phase me. I'm going. I keep it factual.
Welcome back here on the J&J Talk Show. Joined by with Jacob Hunter. And I apologize. I know you like to go by Jake. I'm so Jacob. It rolls right off my tongue, so I apologize.
It's okay, man. I'm either getting called like Jacob, Jake, or as many would call me Jacob State Farm. But hey, I'm all right with that, man. You can call me whatever.
You know, listen, we're not gonna get into that. No, that's just rude. Okay, you don't need to be called Jake from State Farm. Hey, listen, Jake, I'm just so used to Jacob. Okay, that's how you were introduced to me. Fine, it kind of just rolls off my tongue better. It's prone, but we got Jake here, joining the J&J Talk Show. You've been helping us out on TikTok a lot lately, also.
Yeah.
So you got the account and you've been posting up videos. Listen, I want to post up videos. I was going to post up a video the other day. I just never got around to it. And I just don't believe in putting up a midnight post for later. But I need to start getting back on TikTok. I made that one video. I'm not normally a TikTok person. I made that one video advertising NCAA basketball. Okay. And I was like, Trey's like, oh man, you should do more of that. And I want to do more, but I don't know. I just don't have the patience for it. I don't know. I'll have to figure something out. Maybe try to get a couple more episodes. That's why I leave it to you two.
Yeah. So, the crazy thing was like how I got a chance to help out with the JJ Talk Show on TikTok was I remember Trey the day before I started becoming the first guest on the show. He was like, "Hey man, you have a really great way of words. So yeah, why don't you make a promo, for the show on TikTok?" I was like, "Am I allowed to do that?" And ever since then, I've been not only hyping up the what I do on YouTube and Twitch, but also with the JJ Talk Show as well. So the fact that I get a chance to do that it's always fun. It's always really really fun to do that.
I mean, and listen, I mean, and listen, you're part of the family now. As we, advance and we get the future of the J&J Talk Show down the road, we're going to see a
Yeah.
whole lot more of you, and that's fine. I want it. I mean, listen, there's quiet moments where we, are there's not a lot of fill in. You can fill in the gaps, and I don't want to say this, and I know I'm going to get some heat by saying this, but
Mhm.
Justin was a little soft. Justin's been a little soft. Trey's a little soft from time to time. Listen, I want someone is going to be able to argue with me and have that intense conversation, because that's what this content is about for this product, is about giving out the news feeds and having in-depth conversation. Listen, I'm not disputing what Trey and Justin do. They're phenomenal. They're great. They have a great support system. They are our backbones on this program. They are.
Easily, yeah.
Okay. I got some great support, with Justin. I could call him anytime. And he, I know he can't be in on our shows because of work and everything, but he supported me from the beginning, and I just can't thank him enough for what he's done to help me get to. I never thought 3 months ago. I've always talked about wanting to do a show. Okay.
Mhm.
And I've never talked about 3 months ago actually making that dream a reality. Justin helped me out. And then once Trey captured what we're trying to do here, and he starts getting on, he starts becoming, everyone, the essentials, and starts doing the show and has much more to talk about. I
Mhm.
mean, I bring him on, and then now I got you. So the family's is growing. So we welcome
Yeah.
you to the family. You're going to be here a lot more, especially as we plan to move forward. We talk about our show coming up here also on Saturday instead of Sunday. So Sunday Survivor Series, we're going to have a show Saturday night, 9:30 to 11:30. Trey's going to be on. It looks like you may have a chance to be on as well. Who knows? What? Here's the thing. Leave down in the comments wherever you're listening to us, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, or Spotify. Do you want to see more of Jake? Do you want to see less of me? Let's figure it out. But yeah, I mean, you're going to be on, you're going to get involved. And that's why I have you on here today on the NFL. Talking about the NFL here real quick as we wrap up. The NFL. Oh, that was a wrap up week 10. A couple more games I kind of want to just get your thoughts and opinions on. It kind of rolls back around. New England
Easily.
has had themselves a really good couple weeks. And, I saw a post, a Facebook post I saved, and I want to share it with you. And I'm not going to be able to get it out there for everyone else to see. But here's coming from what I saw earlier this morning. Most games with 100 plus passer rating among the first round quarterbacks from the 2021 draft. There's 5 quarterbacks. Let me list you them: Mac Jones,
Mhm.
Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, and Justin Fields. Okay. Out of the most games with 100 yards passing ratings, all the quarterbacks have 0 except for one, and
Mac
that's
Jones.
Mac Jones. That is Mac Jones. You know how much he has? He has 5. He leads with 5. He is blowing them out of the water when it comes down to the 100 plus passer ratings. And here's the thing with listen, I thought I would be the first to tell you that New England, in my opinion, when I saw that New England cut Cam Newton at the preseason,
Mhm.
I would have told you, and I would have said, listen, they'll be lucky to have 2 wins on the season. Mac Jones comes in with Bill Belichick, and they've just shown why they do that they could do business without Tom Brady as behind the wheel. And then
Mhm.
look, now thanks to a terrible last couple of weeks for the Bills, ever since they lost that Monday Night Football game against the Titans, right?
Yeah.
They've been on a
Easily.
down stretch, and thanks to the Bills, the Patriots are looking back into the postseason. Now, I have a friend really fast. I have a friend that is I have a former friend, at least I know, that is a huge Patriots fan. And I used to hate the Patriots because they dominated me growing up. And I'm like, dude, I want to see a new fucking team, but I didn't see that. But listen, give Patriots where give New England where credit's due.
Yeah.
They are now in contingency, and I'm actually buying in for the first time in my life. I'm buying in or I'm starting to be sold into the Patriots and what they're doing.
Yeah, and yeah, you talked about the five quarterbacks. You talked about Fields. You talked about Lance. You talked about Lawrence. But yet, I was not surprised by Mac Jones. I was surprised, however, they did release Cam Newton at the preseason, and they said, you know what, we have so much faith in this young kid that we're just going to have make him starter. And he's already had a couple of primetime games under his belt. He's already been tremendous. In my opinion, I mean, this is what I feel about it. As far as the quarterback side, he is going to be, potentially the NFL rookie quarterback of the year. I mean, easily, hands down. But yet, it goes to show how much Belichick has been working on this kid, how much he's been doing. We've seen the blowout game that he had against Cleveland this past Sunday. Can he be able to continue that tonight against Atlanta? I say yes, because it's about time New England finally has that one good quarterback that they can be able to rely on, that they can be able to trust on. Because, I mean, we all know Tom Brady. I mean, he was the Patriots, easily one of their best quarterbacks of all time. But then whenever he went to Tampa Bay, the question was how was Belichick going to handle this? How was the entire New England franchise going to handle this? And they first started off with Cam Newton. They didn't even make it to the postseason. I mean, they was lucky. I think they won maybe at least 8 or 9 games last season. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yet, then again, Mac Jones. This is probably the best thing that New England's had ever since Tom Brady. So I am very glad for New England. As much as I don't like New England, because as growing up, they've always dominated the NFL. It's always good to finally get a chance to see New England back out there, winning games, and yet potentially winning their division. I think, and yet Buffalo Bills, if I was them, I would keep an eye on their performance tonight and see how they do against the Atlanta Falcons.
Right. Well, I mean, listen, and this is coming from a person that is not a. Let me be honest with you. I hate Bill Belichick. He could go to hell. I don't like him. Listen, okay, hold on. Let me clear myself.
Yeah.
I will give him credit for what he did, for what and how he took the Patriots to the Super Bowl. He did play a factor into the success that New England had, the run with Tom Brady. Now, listen, okay, Tom Brady did a lot of that. Let's give him that. But Bill Belichick also helped. Okay, so I will give him credit. He's a future Hall of Famer. He will go down in legacy as one of the greatest head coaches of all time. But I don't like him. And it's nothing personal. I just don't. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of snob. There's a lot of, I just feel like he's very snobby. He is. I mean, I guess, listen, when you build your credibility, though, I guess you could have the room to do what you want to do. But, I mean, I don't know. Like, he doesn't open up to the press conference. And I'm not asking for a whole lot. I'm not asking him to. I don't want to know his game plans coming into the night. But, I mean, at least be friendly here. I understand where he's coming from, and I understand what he does. I'm just not a fan of Bill Belichick. But, listen, he's, like you mentioned, he took him Mac Jones, and he's made a star out of him. And that's what he could do. And we're seeing this. I mean, listen, COVID-19, the pandemic, there was a lot of issues going on. So I'll give the Bill Belichick a pass last year. If he could give Mac Jones, I mean, listen, I know we still have another 7 games left of the season. But if you could get the Patriots, or Bill Belichick could get the Patriots to 9 wins, all hail Bill Belichick. Listen, compared to the other quarterbacks, I mean, Trevor Lawrence, I stress a lot about this. First-round quarterbacks don't always succeed in the NFL. Matter of fact, there's a very low percentage chance from what I see.
Yeah. So the thing is, though, and before we talk about Trevor Lawrence, is that no matter how much we don't like Bill Belichick, he's at the end of the day, he's still a man with 6 Super Bowl championship rings. But
you're right. I'm giving him credit where credit's due. I am. Listen. I will give him all the credits in the world. He's doing what he needs to do to win, and he's one hell of a great coach. And we're definitely seeing this year without Tom Brady, without all the players that he used to have surrounding him, because when Tom Brady was a quarterback, everyone wanted to play for him.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I do agree.
But we're seeing. I give him credit. I'm just not a big fan of him.
Yeah, and
should be because I'm not a big fan of Bill Belichick. I like the New England Patriots. I'm just not a fan of
Yeah.
Bill Belichick.
Yeah, but let's go ahead and talk about Trevor Lawrence. We're going to talk about the quarterbacks real quick. Let's review on how the draft pick quarterbacks are doing. Trevor Lawrence, first rounder. They're what? The Jaguars' record is like what? 2-8. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yet 2 wins. Zach Wilson, he's currently injured.
Who are you asking for?
Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they're what? 2-8. Correct me if I'm wrong.
They're 2-7.
2-7. Okay.
Matter of fact, the Houston Texans are 1-8 below them.
Well, but yet Trevor Lawrence, who first rounder, not doing so good. Zach Wilson, second pick in the first round, currently injured, and the Jets aren't doing very well. Trey Lance, at first he was doing really good, but then he got injured and he's slowly going downhill from there. Justin Fields, and I know there's a lot of Chicago fans out there, but yet it's about time for Justin Fields to be able to be the starter quarterback. But yet it looks like that they do have a franchise quarterback on their hands with Fields. It's not going to be this season, though. I hate to say this, but maybe next season or maybe next couple of years, Justin Fields can easily carry this team. They can easily take care of this team.
I love Justin Fields. You can't go wrong with Justin Fields. I know I'm gonna let you continue, but I want to say this about Chicago. You have a franchise quarterback in him. I really feel. Listen, I thought, no disrespect to Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields should have been drafted number 1 instead of Trevor Lawrence. Okay, I mean, but listen, it works best because I don't see Trevor Lawrence in the with the Jaguars. Or no. I'm sorry. I don't see Justin Fields with the Jaguars. I see Trevor Lawrence as a Jaguar. He fits the character. Hey, I'm gonna use this term. People will probably hate me on this. Hey, you got sunshine in a Florida State with his locks over there.
With his Goldilocks, but
Goldilocks, sunshine. I mean, remember the tie-ins there. I mean, I think San Diego calls Mike Clevenger sunshine also because of his locks as well. So yes, Trevor Lawrence is now sunshine in my books. You go shave your head off, and I'll call you something different. Go win the Jaguars the Super Bowl, and then I'll get rid of your name. Hey, wear it proudly.
But yet, continuing down the list, but yet, after Justin Fields, who is the one person that we were talking about? Mac Jones, who I think got drafted later on in the draft. And yet, I mean, in the Patriots, most of the New England fans, they said, we don't want this kid. Nobody never really wanted Mac Jones, but yet, now that y'all got Mac Jones, y'all are going to have to deal with him. But look what he's doing. First of all, tremendous job for being a rookie. Especially with the amount of pressure that he was in at the start of the season, big time starter, getting the primetime games, and he's facing Tom Brady in a very close game whenever they took on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday night. It was just like, I feel like Jones has been the missing piece of the puzzle for the New England Patriots, and it's about time too. Because now after they had a huge win over Cleveland, we go to another primetime game tonight. Tonight they take on the Atlanta Falcons. Can that be able to continue? I say easily yes, because Mac Jones, he is the one that everyone needs to watch out for. He's the one that the AFC needs to watch out for. Yes, you got your Lamar Jackson, you got your Tannehill, you got your Josh Allen, but if there's one quarterback that I would definitely keep an eye on the most, it is Mac Jones.
Well, I mean, let's say this, because if you're in New England, you're used to the domination that Tom Brady's giving you at quarterback's position, right? And when we all knew when Tom Brady left to Tampa Bay, it came to a shock for me. I think to some of the other people, because I thought he was a New England for lifer. But just like the same questions going on in Pittsburgh, because Big Ben, face it, his career is coming to an end. Okay, he's not the same Big Ben that it was. Unfortunately, right? It's a sad news. I get it. I'm even bummed. I used to hate the guy a lot, growing up, because he would always demolish. Well, back when I used to be a Charger fan, he used to demolish the Chargers all the time. Okay, and we always used to see the Steelers and the Patriots. It was Ben and Roethlisberger. It was either Ben or Roethlisberger, or not Ben, Roethlisberger or Brady or Manning or Roethlisberger. You know what I'm saying? So those three
Yeah.
combinations on the AFC was hurt. But here, let me tell you this about New England. Isn't it nice to have yourself a quarterback so soon? I think one of the big questions when Tom Brady left was who's going to be the next guy to fill in those shoes. No, I mean, listen, Mac Jones is not no Tom Brady, and the matter of fact, he has
No.
long ways to go, but he's good enough now I could see him in the future. Now, I don't know how that future is going to play out with New England, but it would be dumbfounded. They've already made the mistake in Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know if that's a mistake or a blessing, but getting rid of him to San Francisco, and look what Jimmy Garoppolo did. Listen, it's great to have the Super Bowl ring, but to have consecutive years success rate
Yeah.
is even more important for me. Also, so they already lost Jimmy Garoppolo in that sense, and then you start losing. Don't lose Mac Jones. You have a potential until you could prove me that he's not, a quarterback to invest in. I rather invest. I rather pay him the big bucks. Not no Patrick Mahomes big bucks, but
No.
at least give him something to want to play in New England. And at least listen, the Patriots the fans in New England have something to be like. They can't. I feel like if they didn't have a quarterback, then they would be nervous about. If they were questioned on what their quarterback was going to be at the end of the year, Mac Jones isn't going to go nowhere.
Yeah, and so I feel like when you look at before the season started, the draft and preseason, everyone thought that Mac Jones was just going to be a rough instead of a diamond. But yet, now that the Patriots are starting to develop this kid, he's pretty much the diamond in the rough. I mean, he's actually showing what type of talent he is. And it's about time, too. It is about time that someone who's finally stepped up for New England to be able to say, hey, even though I'm new here, I'm going to do my best for this team. And he's showing it. He is showing it. You look at his stats and his record. I mean, he comes from Alabama, and yet as much as I'd say this, but yet most Alabama quarterbacks do not get this very successful. I mean, you look at Jalen Hurts, you look at Tua. I mean, they're struggling right now with both the Eagles and the Dolphins. So yet for him to be able to step up, to be able to make a name for himself, and that goes to show how much New England really relies on. Good.
Where did Henry Ruggs play in college?
Henry Ruggs, Alabama.
What about that other guy that came from Vegas that is, I think, season-ending injury? Was it injury or was it another arrest charge?
I think it was just released, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. From that same class.
Wasn't he from Alabama?
I believe so. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But
I know he came out of. I mean, okay, so maybe I'm wrong on that one. Those two guys are the key draft picks that the Raiders had this year. But there's a lot of guys coming out of Alabama, and it's just not looking so good this year for them.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is, though, is that the one thing I can say is that Alabama has always known for developing players, for them to be able to get ready for prime time. I mean, you look at Derrick Henry, you look at Mark Ingram.
Right, but you can't come up to the NFL and then ruin your career by stupid shit.
No, but yet that will be a different story later on. But yet, considering that we're still keeping on with the conversation, is that I am very happy for Mac Jones, even though I'm not a Patriots fan, nor will I ever will be. The one thing I say is it's about time that the Patriots finally got themselves a quarterback. Because no offense to Cam Newton, before he went back to Carolina, I thought, Lord have mercy, what is he doing with the Patriots? I didn't even feel like that Newton was comfortable with the Patriots whenever they first started. I didn't even feel like that he was ready for the Patriots to do an offense for Cam Newton, because throughout the whole years it goes to show a difference. Newton is a balance. He is a balanced quarterback. He can pass the ball. He can run the ball. But the problem is you can't have a balanced quarterback and a pocket passing offense. And this is what I've been telling people all along, is that with Jones, he's a pocket passer like Brady is, and yet he feels comfortable enough. And I feel like that that's been a key issue for the Patriots offense all along.
Let me ask you this then, okay? And the last statements on this: does the Patriots have what it takes with how the Bills are performing to surpass the Bills and win the division again?
Easily, I don't see why not. Because if Buffalo keeps playing the way they are, then yet New England is slowly approaching, rising up to the top where they need to be, and yet they're trying to work their way up not only just towards the win of the division. If they
So
don't
you're
win the
selling me in
division,
right now. You got New England and Atlanta tonight. You also got the Buffalo Bills taking on Indianapolis Colts. We'll get into that here in just later on in this hour number two.
yeah,
If you guys are just tuning in, we are in hour number two of a 2 hour episode. Go back and watch the first hour. Great show so far. We're bringing you right into 11 o'clock. Okay, but I want to talk about something else before wrap it up the NFL Week 10. Before we get into the picks, I also listen. We talk about quarterbacks, okay, and I thought
hmm
this was a great deal. I mean, the Rams are sold all in, but then I mean, listen, it's Matthew Stafford, and I think a lot of things that are coming out of mouths in broadcasting today, in the
hmm
radios, is that Matthew Stafford is Matthew Stafford at the end of the day, and no matter how good the team is, you just saw after a terrible loss what Matthew Stafford is all about on a Monday Night Football. Now, can he turn
hmm
that around? I mean, they got off to a great start, but like I said, it's about the back half of the season.
yeah.
And can he get himself back on with the addition of Odell Beckham, with the addition of the defensive help? I mean, it felt like no one showed up.
Yeah, so Los Angeles has been struggling a lot over the past 2 weeks against the Tennessee Titans. I mean, there was a play that he did where he was about to get sacked, but yet he throws the ball and then goes for a turnover. But here's the problem, though. We all know Matthew Stafford from being in Detroit. He's been with Detroit for a very long time, pretty much throughout his whole career, and yet this is his first time. I feel like this is his first time realizing, hey, I'm in a new team. We're actually playing really good. No offense to the Detroit Lions, but yet this is a really good playoff caliber team. But yet Stafford is feeling the pressure. You can just sense that he's feeling the pressure. With that loss to Tennessee and a terrible, terrible loss to the San Francisco 49ers this past Monday, the Rams have to step up. Sean McVay needs to be able to say, "Hey, Matt, what's going on? What do I need to do? I mean, are you not feeling comfortable? What can I do to be able to help you? Help me help you." In that sort of sense. So for Stafford, he's going to have to be able to play better if they want to be able to make it to the playoffs. If they want to be able to win the division, because it is getting very, very close between them and the Arizona Cardinals. Stafford has the ability. He has the ability to go to the postseason. I don't even think he's even made it to the postseason in his career. So if he wants to be able to do that, he's going to have to play better than he's doing right now.
Well, I mean, okay, so you talk about that, because I mean, then you gotta remember that the San Francisco 49ers are right behind them as well. But overall, this is the epiphany because we go back to Thursday Night Football.
Mm-hmm.
The Ravens lose to the Dolphins, and I explained this last week how Thursday Night Football sets the tone for the rest of the week. Well, the Ravens lose to the Dolphins and something in a game that no one anticipated on of the outcome. Then you had Buccaneers losing, you had the Lions tying, which was surprising, Chargers losing, Chiefs pulling a win out of their ass like they've been should have been undefeated this year.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas just manhandling the Falcons. I mean, Thursday Night Football. I mean, if you can't agree, let me know. But Thursday Night
Yeah.
Football is the epiphany of how the rest of the week plays out. And if I don't know what the deal is with Thursday Night Football and the games. I hate the games going on Thursday night. I feel like it needs to sell. You need to sell me on Thursday night to get me into the weekend. But I mean, that's the way that the NFL's gone so far this year, and it's definitely shown it each and every week.
I feel like the last, I'm no offense to any of the teams that played on Thursday nights. I feel like the last really good Thursday night game that we had was the Arizona Cardinals and the Green Bay Packers about a couple of weeks
That was it.
ago. And that was it. I mean, me and you talked about this. I question why they had the Jets and the Colts. I question why they had the Ravens and the Dolphins. They could have easily had,
They need to have just
for
what they need to do on Thursday Night Football. Let's just make it simple. Thursday Night Football, they just need to sit there and have rivalry games.
I agree.
Chargers,
I agree.
Chiefs, Tampa, Cowboys, and Eagles. I mean, it don't because the thing is, when you have a rivalry game, it doesn't matter what the record is. I mean, you're going to get a good game. I mean, people are going to tune in because it's a rival.
Well, I mean, this is the way I feel about it. Let's say for instance that everyone's going to the bar because it's a Thursday night and they feel like watching football with their boys. But
Right,
yet
but
the thing is when
even the Texans and the Jaguars, which is a terrible game. Well, I'm just saying,
yeah,
because you think of rivalries, you think of the division. Okay, let's look at this really fast because before we head to break. Okay, even if you get the two worst divisions, let's say the Dolphins and the Jets. Their Dolphins are 3-7, the Jets are 2-7. If you get, or even if you get the Jaguars and Texans, because it's a rivalry game, you're tuning in. Yeah, I mean, listen, yeah, you have people going to the bars. That's what's going to be on TV. But when you look at things, okay, when you look at the games and you have yourself, those games, you have those rivalry games, even if they're terrible teams, people are going to tune in because there's history because they play in the same division with each other.
yeah. But yet the thing is though is that with the way that the scheduling is for Thursday night football games, I mean, it's been
Right, but that's the
lackluster. It's been
schedule.
lackluster.
It's lacked. Right. Now, listen, you could
Lack,
change Sunday night. You could change Sunday night. You could change Monday night to how, to the exciting games. Those are always to be, determined. That's fine. But Thursday
Yeah.
nights, because you can't determine that, because you got to get them preset, why don't you just cut out the bull crap and make it rivalry games where people are going to tune into it.
Well, the thing is, though, is that the way I feel about it is that, I don't think the NFL realizes that, okay, it's Thursday night game. What can we do? Oh, I know, I got a great idea. Why don't we just have, last week, let's have the Dolphins and the Ravens. And the question is, and I want to ask you this, is that can we see a left tackle or a right tackle try to go for a touchdown like we did last week? Because that was, I mean, even though the game wasn't really that fun to watch, there were some highlight moments. I mean, there was a lineman trying to dive in for a tackle last week. I mean, there's still many impacts from a Thursday night game, and I want to admit this before you take us to break, is that Thursday night games, I mute it because it sounds so boring just to listen to the game watching it. Yes.
Hey, I'd rather listen to Manny Payton. I'd rather listen to the terrible Manny Payton call on Monday Night Football and that whole, chaos thing that went on last Monday than listening to Thursday Night Football. But listen, okay, so when we come back, we're going to step away. We come back. We still got the picks. We're going to go over the picks. I'm going to give you enough time for that. I want to talk about one more thing that happens to do with your team, and it happens to go with the NFL. I know we talked about this earlier, and that is the overtime rules and regulations. We're going to get thoughts on that. We'll come back. Hey, listen, everyone, just real quick, WrestleMania 38 tickets are on sale now. Head on over to SeatGeek.com to get all your package plans, travel expenses, everything you can find is through SeatGeek. Head on out to WrestleMania 38 coming up here on April 2nd and April 3rd, a two-night extravaganza at AT&T Stadium at Dallas, Texas. Buy your tickets now. We'll step aside, and when we come back, we'll get some more football talk with you. You guys are listening to the J&J Talk Show. Alrighty, everyone. TC's Barbecue is back. That's right. The local Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky residents only. TC Barbecue is the home of slow smoke, mouth-watering, made to perfection barbecue. Whole and half-rack beef ribs, pork baby back ribs are available November 24th. That's right, day before Thanksgiving. If you're interested in enjoying some smoking ribs this Thanksgiving, reach on out to Travis Chappelle on Facebook or check out his Instagram on Chappelle Travis on Instagram. Limited time only. Listen, I'm going to tell you this. You got to reach out now. He smokes them himself. He goes out and buys it. You got to be able to pick it up. So I'm working on getting my dish time. Just find your way and try to stay true. All right, Jake. Hey, what about our playlist that we got going on here?
I like it.
Listen. I mean, I'm working on it. I know it's all over the place.
Hey, I mean, I always dig that type of music. So, like, whenever he was on, I was like, nodding my head. I was like, hey, like, this is really good. This is a good jam.
It's Stay True. It's Stay Imperfecties by Lars Erickson. Available on Epidemic Sound, licensing all of the J Talk Show music right now. It's better than trying to get flagged or getting banned or anything like that. I don't want to do any of that going on our show.
We don't need that now. We don't need that.
Then we can't talk about what we want to talk about. Well, because here's what happened. I don't know if you heard, but back on the show where we first had you on, I mean, we were doing the commercials. We thought, hey, listen, I thought we were doing something right. We're talking about wrestling. Why not promote it, right? I mean, what's going on in the world of wrestling? And WWE flagged us, unfortunately. So I got all that. I got that back up, but it was like, a very good show with you on it for the very first time. I'm pissed off. I'm like, dude, my computer's not set up to do audio or video editing and any, and I don't have any experience on it. So, but I was able to get it back up.
One thing I can definitely do say, and I'm very, very proud to say that we do have is Spotify. So make sure you guys check out the JJ Talk Show on Spotify in case we end up doing have some copyright issues. There's no worries because I've always been promoting us ever since I started joining the family, started joining the show. Make sure you guys check us out not only on Facebook and YouTube but also on Spotify as well. JJ Talk Show, and it's awesome. I mean, if you're on a long road, if you're on a long a trip or something like that, make sure you guys.
You're at work.
Check it out.
What about work? I mean, if you're at work, I go work and I put in some headphones and I'm just busting out. I'm doing my job. I turn on a talk show, whether it's mine, whether I want to listen to what I said earlier in the day, or I have to get myself, listen to another show because I like another show. I listen to Busted Open podcast, a couple radio stations out in San Diego, and After the Bell with Corey Graves. I listen to a lot of that stuff. So I listen to the Jim Rome shows too. So I mean, check us out on Spotify. I don't see why you can't. It's free. It's a free app. Download it. Check us out. Listen. All right. Go ahead.
I'll say one thing I can definitely assure you guys, for those who are wondering, does that mean I have to get Spotify Premium just to be able to listen to you guys? No, you don't need. You don't need Spotify Premium. You don't need that. It's simple enough. You can just go search us up, JJ Talk Show on Spotify, and then you can easily listen to us free wherever you want.
All righty. Well, listen, absolutely right. But listen, all right. So your Pittsburgh Pirates Pittsburgh Pirates, shoot. Yeah, I'm trying to get the Pirates some credit. Pittsburgh Steelers. I told Trey we need to make ourselves a bloop. Every time we botch something, make ourselves a little clip of it, and that way we could open the show with it. Or on Sunday for like the last 15 minutes, we could replay clips of our botches and just have a fun blast with that. But anyways, the Pittsburgh Steelers give the Detroit Lions one of the closest, probably the closest thing they're ever going to come to a win this season. As a matter of fact, heading into Sunday's game, because they face the Cleveland Browns, I don't know. Do you want to root for the Lions heading into the Browns? We'll get into that in a moment. But my question for you is the overtime rule. And here let me lay this out. I'll let you have the floor. Yeah. The overtime rule right now, it's 10 minutes of overtime of regulation. Is the first possession, if you could run down the field and score a touchdown, then the game's over. If you run down the field and score a field goal, the opposite team will have a chance to come back down the field and score. If they don't, then that person wins. And then if that doesn't happen in the first drive, or the first possession, then it comes down to whoever we can make the next score. Every team has 2 timeouts, blah blah blah. Right? I'm going to present you my idea because I talked about this. I was kind of upset about this. I didn't like this. Get rid of OT game rules. And this is not baseball where extra innings could go 15, 20, 30 minutes, right? Or a couple hours, right? 15th inning, 16th inning is still tied at 2-0.
Yeah.
It's one thing to have that. But if I was going to take the rule out of college play games, and I really liked how they did it, is simple. Let them play a 10-minute regulation game in overtime, give them 2 timeouts each, and play the entire quarter, regardless of what the score is. If you come to the end of the quarter and it's still tied, then do what college football does and allow them to do, okay, you start on the 25, you have 4 downs to make a touchdown or 2-point conversions, whatever, right? Or allow them to continue to play after that 10 minutes until the next person scores.
Yeah.
No more timeouts. No more, you get the 2 timeouts. That's it. No more.
All right. So I've been waiting to share my thoughts on this. So yet, before I get to that, I want to show you guys from a fan's perspective. A fan who's literally taking the time of the day to go root for their favorite team, spend all kinds of money just for seats and whatnot. You take your son, you take your kids to their favorite football team, and they expect, let's go, Steelers, let's go whoever, and they pay good money to go watch their favorite team play, and yet they leave to a tie game, no winner, no loser, but straight up tie. Imagine how a fan would feel sitting through the rain and the snow mix up at Pittsburgh this past Sunday. If I was a fan, I would want my team to win. There should be a winner or there should be a loser. I do not like this NFL overtime rule. I think it's ridiculous, and yet I hate to say that Pittsburgh and Detroit are the first 2 teams this season to be able to make a tie to their record. Now, as you guys know, Pittsburgh was on the verge of trying to be able to lead the AFC North over the Baltimore Ravens. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. You know why? Because of this stupid tie rule. And personally, the way I feel about it as a football fan, as a NFL fan, get rid of these stupid overtime rules. I mean, I agree. Have 10 minutes in overtime, but yet whoever scores wins. But yet they have the ability to keep going like they're doing with college stuff. Instead of the coach challenge, have the booth challenges. Booth challenges only. And it's so stupid, no offense, but this is pointless. This is pointless, to add to both Pittsburgh and Detroit's record. Because now the Detroit Lions can be able to have a 0-16-1 record for the first time in NFL history. Could that happen? Or will they actually get a chance to have a win over the Cleveland Browns? Personally, the way I feel about this with this overtime rule is that this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous, not because, once again, because I'm a Steelers fan and whatnot, but because it doesn't make any sense, and yet it's not fair to the players, to the staff that travels, and most importantly, towards the fans. To the fans who have paid good money to go sit at Pittsburgh, go sit at Heinz Field to go watch the Pittsburgh Steelers or to go to watch the Detroit Lions play just to end in a tie.
Listen, I'm not a big fan of it. Listen, there's not enough games in the NFL. There's 18 games. They've already, had that, but there's not enough games in the NFL to really conduct themselves with tie games. And then if you look at a team, if let's say that Steelers, you could have 2 or 3 ties, and that could really make or break a playoff run, especially if it's in the division. So I'm not a fan of it. I promoted my ideas. I don't know if that's a good idea what to do. I sure hope so. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not a fan of it. And I really wish that the NFL will look into changing that. I mean, you're right. We as a fan, you're sitting there. You don't want to sit there and then have your, a chance to win or lose. You want to know the results of it. There's
Yeah.
no other game out there besides, and you also think about it. It's not like it's a win loss based record instead of
Hmm.
points. So like when you look into soccer, when you look into um, hockey, they have shootouts. So you
Yeah.
win
Yeah.
based off of points, but soccer they have a point base spread.
Yeah.
So it's one
Easily.
thing to if you have a point base spread, but no, you have records, and I don't even think NBA. I mean, NBA goes into double overtime. They will have a winner at the end of
Mhm.
each and every game, and I really feel like that should be the same way for the NFL. It's the only sport that I know besides soccer um, that has a win loss record that you could end in a tie. And I mean, and it's football. You just got done watching 3 hours or 4 hours of football,
Yeah.
intense football, just to come up walking away where you can't resolve who's going to win. Now, I mean, you look at baseball. If they've had to postpone a game, they come back and they play it at a later date. NFL
Hmm.
doesn't do that. So I think that the NFL should be looking at into this and something that they should be changing hopefully in the next year or two. I mean,
Yeah.
look at the playoffs. You have to have a winner in the playoffs. You ain't gonna go into double overtime tied and think that you're gonna be able to walk away and advance next week.
Yeah, so I think there's something I think the NFL needs to look forward to, especially, we're almost up to the postseason, and the question is what's going to happen if we do go in overtime, and what happens? I mean, I don't think we've even had a
Well,
tie
so
in the
NFL,
playoff.
if you're in the postseason and if you're in the playoffs and you go in, you just play until someone wins. That's what happens. That's the rule that is acceptable there. But let me tell you this, because you consider NFL one of the biggest sports in America today. It's a
Hmm.
top sport. It's number one in all in all of America. At least I could tell you in all of the United States.
Yeah.
NFL being at such a top, they cannot afford, especially like you watch it on Sunday. I mean, you watch a Sunday night football game. You don't want to end it in a tie.
No, no, you don't want to. You don't want to have a primetime game on a Thursday, Sunday, Monday, whatever day it is, just for it to end in a tie. And the way I feel about it, I'm thinking out on a fan's perspective because you got to think about this. It was raining. It was freezing rain. I think it was a little bit of mixture of snow for the fans down there at Heinz Field this past Sunday.
You
And
wasted my money if you end up in a tie. It's like you shouldn't even play the game.
yeah, I'll
And you're
say
also wasting the players' time too, because what do they advance out of this? I
that
mean, the
that was
Detroit
something.
Lions are trying to pick up their first game of the season, and then you also have the Steelers are trying to keep themselves alive into the postseason, into the contingency of postseason. And I'm not a fan of this
I'm
whatsoever.
not.
I really think they need to change it.
I'm not a fan of this because the way I feel about this is that NFL tickets, they're not cheap. They're not cheap. They're really expensive as crap. And yet all the fans have spent their hard-earned money just for it to end in a tie. Imagine how a fan feels paying thousands or hundreds of dollars just to go watch their favorite team play, all to end in a tie. And that would get them upset, frustrated. Trust me, if I was there, I would easily be too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm you're on mute there. I'm very frustrated. I think as a fan base, I am also just very um not as well entertained with this. I think that the I think that they should have had the game, not only with the weather conditions but with also um everything else that I mean, listen, it's America's greatest pastime sport. It's one of the most watched sports in today in the season. So I really believe that they should be figuring something out and having finding a way to get each game. I mean, it doesn't take much more time than to have to play an extra hour, and I think it'll be much more entertaining if you think about it. How often do they play 4 or 5 hour ball games? You want to be able to have the NFL. You want to be able to have the result at the end of the day instead of everything. So NFL, let's figure something out. Let's get together. Let's hold hands and sing "Kumbaya," okay? And let's get you guys back in the swing of things. and joining it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break one last time. When we come back, we'll go ahead and talk about some. We're not going to talk about some other things going on in the. We're going to pick our picks. End of the show. Wrapping up here on the J&J Talk Show. Thank you for tuning in.
Don't be saved by rock and roll.
Hey, Jake, you there?
Yeah, can y'all hear me?
I can hear you. Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Kind of got put off. Hey, listen, it happens all the time. I'm not worried about it. Listen, I do it all the time. It caught me off guard, but I think it went well. That's why I went to commercial break. But hey, it's fine. We always mess up.
Yeah, I mean,
listen, if I tell you, if this show was perfect, pin drop there. If this show would ever be perfect to that point, but hey, That's fine. That's what we have. 2 people doing the show. In case something like this happens, you're all good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, so
But
you cut off towards the end of before we get back into it, I'll get your opinions in a second. I want to just remember and remind everybody, okay? We have a special 2-hour show. All right, so a couple of things coming on. I will be back again tomorrow, okay, for a 1-hour episode, taking a look into the weekend. I will also be back. We will be back on Saturday instead of our Sunday show that we normally do. Because of Survivor Series, we will be back on Saturday, 9:30 to 11:30. I know Trey's there, maybe Jake. Okay, hopefully we'll see. But then on top of that, we still have our next week's Tuesday, and then I also want to promote a special 2 hours Thanksgiving special with me and Trey, maybe Jake, I don't know. We're going to talk about some wrestling, get you guys into Thanksgiving week and everything that's going on. So, that's our upcoming schedule if you guys are tuning over. Check us out. If you guys are listening to us, hit our like, share, and subscribe button. I'm excited. I'm excited for Thanksgiving Day. I know I got a lot of things going on afterwards, but to be able to have a 2-hour show I'm going to take it easy. It's not going to be a lot of intense conversations. It's going to be a nice, fun day for Thanksgiving. But hey, listen. All right, before we get into our picks, which we got to get into them.
Easily, yeah.
Final thoughts on the overtime rule.
Plain and simple, I just wish that they need to change it, especially from a fan's perspective. The amount of money that you would spend just to go buy a ticket to go watch your favorite team play and to go see it end in a tie, I think it's a really, really stupid situation. It's a really stupid thing for it to happen in the first place. So easily get rid of the tie rule, get rid of the overtime rule, do something different for not only for the players, for the staff's perspective, but as a fan's perspective. Just change it, because I don't think anyone wants to see that tie record on anyone's team for that matter. I mean, it's stupid.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. I really want it to be changed, but we'll see. I mean, hopefully things will change up here. But listen, all right, we came down to the episode with we're finally here. I had to throw that in there. NFL week number 11 picks. If you guys want to play along, I have the picks up on Facebook. Head on over to the Facebook page and, find the post and play. Pick your teams who you think are going to win. Tune in each and every week, and let's see how many we got correct. Okay, this is a part of the episode that we end off our show on Thursday, going over every game in the NFL this week, as well as giving our picks to who we believe is going to play. Now, here's the thing. Here's where I have it at really fast. Let me give you the standing so far. So as of this week, I lead with currently 96 wins on my resume. Trey has 47. He's missed a couple of weeks. Justin also has 85. Now, I'm going to share Trey's picks here as we go through them. Jake is going to join us for the first time. I don't know if you're going to be able to come back and win 100 games by the end of the year, but we'll see. Justin did not give me his picks for this week, so he still has time to put them in, but I will not be sharing that with you today.
Yeah, so I'm actually excited.
We get right into it. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's start off with Thursday football. Mm-hmm. We got the Patriots and the Falcons. What's going on with the Patriots and the Falcons?
So it's obviously tonight on Fox and NFL Network, and I feel like with the Falcons, it's gonna be a lackluster, especially with Matt Ryan and that whole entire Atlanta Falcons team. With the Patriots, we talked about earlier in the show, Matt Jones. I feel like he's got a great chance. I mean, plus, this would be his first primetime win. So, if I had to pick between these two teams, I'm going to go with the New England Patriots. Plain and simple. I don't see it being a close scoring game, but maybe by at least 10 points. I'm going to say a 10-point game between the Patriots and Falcons.
Here's what I'll tell you about the New England Patriots. I really believe that they are a team force to be reckoned with. I think, they finally found they got their foot underneath the water, and they're going to make a splash. I think this is that come out game. They have a good team against the Atlanta Falcons that they can easily beat. I know it's on the road, but they can easily beat them. And I'm going with the Patriots as well. Trey chooses the Patriots, so hey, we're gonna go Patriots across the board. But you know what? I could honestly say, look out, Patriots. They could be probably one of the most dangerous teams in the NFL.
Expect them to make a huge statement tonight, especially since they're trying to be able to beat the Bills in that division. So I expect a huge statement being made for the Patriots.
Talking about the Bills, Colts host over in Buffalo facing on the Bills. Trey chooses Buffalo. I'm going to be honest with you. I want to mix things up. I'm going Colts just because the Bills have not been playing well, and I don't think they continue to play well.
Joe, you look at the Bills. I mean, there's good and the bad between both teams. For the bad, for the Buffalo Bills, is a lack of performance, and that's something that we've seen over the last couple of weeks with the Buffalo franchise. And you also look at the Indianapolis. I mean, there's a few in and outs for Indianapolis, but if I had to pick between two of these teams, I'm gonna have to give it to the Colts. That's what this one as well, because I feel like with Carson Wentz and Pittman, I mean that whole team, and plus, I mean they have an incredible running game. I believe that might be a huge wear and tear on Buffalo. Now, Buffalo, they might actually prove that they are the team that they are willing to be in the postseason. But as far as this game right here, I look for Indianapolis to continue their winning streak and trying to be able to defeat Tennessee in that division for the AFC South.
Moving on here. So you got the Bills?
I got the Colts.
Colts. So you got the Colts. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good. I got the Colts. I do. My prediction is I just feel like it's going to be a close game. So I'm expecting a 2 to 3 point game in this one. It's going to be close.
Okay. Talking about close games, what about Houston and Tennessee rivalries here? Everyone's Trey chose Tennessee. You know what? I mean, they're so separated. I'm impressed about how the Tennessee Titans are playing, especially with all the injuries that they had this year. I'm going with the Titans.
Easily, I'm going to have to go with the Titans on this one. I feel like Ryan Tannehill has the ability to potentially throw 3 touchdowns on this one, especially no offense to Houston, but Houston's lackluster of a defense, and they've not been playing so good. So easily Tennessee on this one.
All right, let's not pick the same teams all week, okay? I know we great minds think alike, but come on, we got to make it a little challenging.
I mean, two great minds think alike.
You know, listen, I know Washington picked up an impressive victory last week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I don't think I think that was honestly a fluke, and I think that most of that had to do with the Buccaneers not performing well. Now, Cam Newton comes back. He's going to make his home debut again in 2021. I'm going Carolina here over Washington.
You know, in this sort of situation, I would say Washington, but the problem is they're with Chase Young being out, that is like they're missing the key to the defense. So I'm gonna have to say Carolina on this one. I'd be really surprised to see how Cam Newton does in his first home game back with Carolina. But yeah, at the same time, though, Washington, Taylor Heineke, they have the ability to be able to make some plays, but it's all going to come down to this. Carolina is going to end up winning this one.
I mean, okay, if Cam Newton was not in this game, I probably would have chosen maybe the Washington football team.
If Sam Darnold would play easily. Yeah, I agree.
Right. Baltimore Ravens over in Chicago. Trey didn't have this pick. Didn't send me the pick on this one. I chose for him, and I chose the Ravens. Maybe I get yelled at later on, but I don't know. Listen. Justin Fields is going through this season. He's played a lot of great quarterbacks. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and not Joe Flacco. I'm sorry, Lamar Jackson and Big Ben. Justin Fields gets another taste in this, and I don't know. I mean, this is a good learning curve, but Ravens on this one.
I'm going to call this the battle of the running quarterbacks because they both have similar styles, and I like that. And plus, Chicago is coming off with a bye week, and the last time we saw Chicago was at a very, very close game against Pittsburgh. So, yeah, if they continue with that momentum, as far as enough, and call me crazy on this one, but since they cut Le'Veon Bell this week from Baltimore, I'm going to have to say, give me Chicago on this one. Give me Chicago because let me tell you why. Because it goes to show that after a tremendous performance by Justin Fields, Chicago had
Le'Veon Bell did not make or break. Let me make that clear. Le'Veon Bell did not make or break this team. They have other key factors.
But the thing is, though, is that the problem is that they don't have a running game. The only type of running game they have is Jackson.
You don't need a running
And
game.
sometimes you do, especially whenever
They
you
have an
need.
extra week. They don't need a running game against this Bears team.
This Bears defense. They have something to prove, and yet I believe they'll prove it against the Baltimore Ravens.
Alrighty, hey, here's a question for you. Were the Lions finally? How close the Lions came up last week? Will the Lions pick up their first victory?
Very, very close, and yet with the situation going on in Cleveland, with Baker Mayfield being out, yet Case Keenum starting, and I do want to point this out that yet this is not the first time that we see Case Keenum. Here he is starting again. We saw what happened whenever they took on the Denver Broncos, but yet will the Lions get their first victory? Unfortunately, as much I hate to see this, but no. I think Cleveland, if Case Keenum can be able to work that offensive line out, can be able to work with the receiving core. Easily, I'm gonna have to say Cleveland this one by at least maybe 1 to 2 points.
All right. Well, Trey has Cleveland. I'm gonna root for the underdogs here, and I'm going for Detroit. I think that they could pick up the victory. How close they did with Pittsburgh? Yeah, that's the case. San Francisco over in Jacksonville.
San Francisco. Easily.
Yeah, I'm going San Francisco as well. Trey went with San Francisco. Green Bay over in Minnesota, and because the division is spicing up, this kind of maybe makes an interesting game. Trey goes with the Green Bay. I'm going Green Bay too. What about you?
Green Bay easily. I don't see why not, because with Minnesota playing this year, and compared to how Green Bay's doing, Green Bay.
Okay. Hey, you know what? There's a game coming up exciting here. Joe Flacco will get a start this year. He was starting. He has been announced as the starting quarterback for the Jets this Sunday against the Miami Dolphins. Trey has the Miami Dolphins winning, but you know what? I got the Jets on this one. Their hometown.
Man.
They beat. If they could beat the Cincinnati Bengals, then they could beat.
Oh man, you talk about, and I will say this, I do love Joe Flacco. I do love Joe Flacco, great quarterback. But in this situation and time, I'm gonna have to give it to the Miami Dolphins on this one. I'm gonna have to, because if Tua can be able to step up after last Thursday, then they have that momentum that they desperately needed.
Saints and Eagles.
Oh man, what did Trey have? Who did he pick?
Trey picked the Saints.
Man, with the way both teams are.
I'm telling you, I'm going with the Eagles. I'll say that. That's all I'll say about that.
Me personally, I feel like I'm going to have to go with the Eagles on this one as well.
They're in Philadelphia, by the way. On top of that, you don't have Jameis Winston. You don't really have a quarterback announced. Now, here's one thing I want to bring up to you really quick. Listen, you think maybe if the Saints don't win this game on Sunday, that they maybe call Drew Brees or Phillip Rivers to come play for them for the rest of the year? Because they're in contingency. They just need a quarterback.
You are correct with the quarterback situation, but you also got to think about this, though. They're in Philadelphia, and besides Pittsburgh, besides Baltimore, Philadelphia has the most passionate fans you ever meet.
And Philadelphia's playing good, so I definitely agree with you there.
But yet the thing is, though, is that with the whole quarterback situation without Michael Thomas, and they had, and they have both Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram. Don't get me wrong, but the problem is no quarterback. So easily, I'm going to have to go with.
I think Phillip Rivers is willing to come out of retirement for that. I think Joe Montana is willing to come out of retirement for that.
don't say that now. Just imagine if the one was called.
We'll see him in the Saints uniform. But here's an interesting fact. You think about it. Drew Brees left San Diego, went to New Orleans, won a Super Bowl. What happens if Phillip Rivers could come back and go to Saints and win the Super Bowl? And then in 10 years from now, Justin Herbert do the same thing. We got the Cowboys and the Chiefs.
I'm going to have to say Dallas on this one, because I love the way that the Dallas offense has been doing, and plus defense. This is going to be a really tough challenge for Pat Mahomes as of yet, because that defense has stepped up a lot ever since last season. So easily, give me Dallas. Dallas by at
I
least
am
like
going to be
maybe
honest with
14.
you on this one. I'm going to go with the Chiefs on this one, and here's why. If the Chiefs do not win this game, because this is a key important game to their postseason, if they
Mhm.
don't win, nope, I'm not going to root for them ever again. I'm choosing.
Well,
I'm actually choosing Kansas City. They're in hometown Arrowfield.
well,
Arrowhead Field.
pretty much. My stepdad is a huge Dallas fan, so yeah, I know he would want me to root for Dallas. So I'm going to say Dallas on this one.
All right. You keeping it safe there, okay? Cincinnati returning from a break, heading over to Las Vegas, face on the Raiders. I know Trey has the Raiders. I really think that the Bengals are going to win.
Easily Bengals because after that lackluster performance 2 weeks ago, and they're off of a bye week as well. If they improve after their performance against Cleveland 2 weeks ago, then yeah, I'm easily going to have to say Cincinnati.
I think coming up halfway through the season, they kind of got a little bit of a little lack there. So I think that they're going to come up and perform well here against the Vegas Raiders. Plus, it's in Vegas. I mean, who can't bet against the odds? 3 more games: Arizona and Seattle.
Arizona. I don't see Russell Wilson. I don't see Seattle coming back, especially since it's been a horrible year for Seattle. So I'm going to have to say Arizona.
Seattle, Russell Wilson's going to, had hand surgery. It's going to take a couple weeks before he could come back and fully ready for an inning run. I mean, I kind of also think that, if the another loss or two, you kind of shut down maybe Wilson for the rest of the year. If you look like you're out of the postseason, which is pretty much the case. Sunday night game, we got the Steelers and the Chargers.
Steelers on this one. Pittsburgh. I'll say easily I got Pittsburgh just because the reason why is, without Joey Bosa and the way that Los Angeles has been playing, Pittsburgh might actually have a shot. And plus, we talked about the defense a lot earlier in the show with Najee Harris. Najee Harris has been tremendous over the last couple of weeks, so I expect a huge improvement for Pittsburgh, and especially after a lackluster week against the Detroit Lions. So give me Pittsburgh in this one.
All righty. I say Pittsburgh as well. I mean, Chargers just can't perform at home. Last but not least, the Monday Night Football game, Giants and Buccaneers. I think it could easily be said the Buccaneers are going to lose or going to win.
I was hoping you wouldn't say Buccaneers are going to lose. I was going to say, don't say that now.
But listen, if they had a terrible performance like they did back with New England, back with Washington last week, the Giants can win.
I was gonna say if I'm in Kentucky Monday and I'm watching this game and the Buccaneers lose, I would be ashamed. But easily in this game, I'm gonna have to say Buccaneers on this one.
Yeah, I'm going Buccaneers too. Well, you know what? That is our picks on that. If you missed anything, come back and watch us again. Thank you for tuning in, Jake. Thank you for being here. It was an epic show, a lot better than what I've been normally performing. Hopefully, we get you back on again soon.
Any
last words for everyone?
Yeah, easily. Hopefully, if I don't make it to this Saturday, I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving holiday. I will be in Kentucky this coming Sunday, so I wish everyone a great holiday, great Thanksgiving.
All right. Well, I know you sent me a video. I know you sent me a video for Thanksgiving, but will you be here on Thanksgiving?
I'm hoping so. It all depends. I won't know for sure, but I'll let you know. But yeah, to all who is listening, who is watching, please make sure to check us out on our social medias. J&J Talk Show on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And don't forget to check us out on Spotify. It is free, y'all. We talked about this earlier. It is free. So yeah, if you're on a road like I will be this Sunday, please make sure to listen to our show. It's a great experience.
Alrighty, well, enough said. Well, Jake, thank you for being on our show, and we'll see you guys. We'll see you hopefully real soon here. Jake Hunter there, everyone. Thank him for tuning on to our show. Everyone, hopefully everyone's had a great show. Everyone, I know I had a great show as well. Like I said, tune us in tomorrow. Otherwise, you guys stay safe out there, and you guys enjoy the rest of your day.